President Vladimir Putin said Russia is ready to use nuclear weapons if there is a threat to its statehood, sovereignty, or independence. Putin's statement was another blunt warning to the West before a presidential vote this week, in which he's all but certain to win another 6-year term. In an interview with Russian state television released early Wednesday, Putin said that in line with the country's security doctrine, Moscow is ready to use nuclear weapons in case of a threat to the existence of the Russian state. The Russian leader has repeatedly talked about his readiness to use nuclear weapons since launching the invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The most recent such threat came in his State of the Nation address last month, when he warned the West that deepening its involvement in the fighting in Ukraine would risk a nuclear war. Asked in the interview if he has ever considered using battlefield nuclear weapons in Ukraine, Putin responded that there has been no need for that. Putin held the door open for talks, but emphasized that Russia will hold on to its gains and would seek firm guarantees from the West. Putin said that a recent spike in Ukrainian drone attacks deep inside Russia is part of efforts to derail the country's 3-day presidential election, which starts Friday, and which he is set to win by a landslide, relying on the tight control over Russia's political scene he has established during his 24-year rule. If Western countries send their military contingents to Ukraine, it will lead to serious geopolitical consequences, but won't change anything on the battlefield, Putin said, suggesting that if Polish troops enter Ukraine, they would never leave. Putin sent tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine in February 2022, triggering full-scale war after 8 years of conflict in eastern Ukraine between Ukrainian forces on one side and pro-Russian Ukrainians and Russian proxies on the other. Putin has sent a series of public nuclear warnings to the US aimed at discouraging greater involvement in Ukraine, a move the Kremlin says would mark a slide into World War. Washington says it has seen no major changes to Russia's nuclear posture, but Putin's public nuclear warnings, which break with the extreme caution of the Soviet leadership over such remarks, have sown concern in Washington. Putin reiterated the use of nuclear weapons was spelled out in the Kremlin's nuclear doctrine, which sets out the conditions under which it would use such a weapon. Broadly a response to an attack using nuclear or other weapons of mass destruction, or the use of conventional weapons against Russia, when the very existence of the state is put under threat. Weapons exist in order to use them, Putin said. We have our own principles. Putin, speaking ahead of a March 15 election, which is certain to give him another 6 years in power, added that the nuclear war scenario was not rushing up, and he saw no need for the use of nuclear weapons in Ukraine.